Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lake City Sentai Denzicaster here on the ECS Network, your weekly look into the wonderful world of Tokusatsu. I'm your host, Mike, and this week I'm joined by
William,
Sam,
and we have more of Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon for you this week. This one, Will is here because during our Crayon Box Adoption live stream, we received a donation. We put you guys in control of the network for 24 hours. And with your donations, you could pick what we watched. And even more so, you could pick who had to watch it. Well, we received a donation specifically to watch Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon, but Will had to be there and had to take part. Well, Will had to leave during the live stream and was not able to return. Titan, the temple dog, got rather sick, so Will had to stay and take care of the dog. But since Sam donated money with that particular request...
And we didn't even watch this specific episode either. The cringe one.
We do have to fulfill our obligations.
I do
So,
a symbol towards you.
so today we've got episodes 11 and 12 of Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon. Episode 11, we got to meet the real...
Whoa.
11,
Those
right?
specific ones you wanted me to watch?
Yes.
Now, there was a specific episode which you're welcome we didn't watch it.
It's painful.
Because it was a painful episode to watch.
Hi.
Episode 11, we got to meet the real Minako, and episode 12, Sailor V's true identity was the princess. So, real quick synopses of these two episodes. In episode 11, we find out that Minako, our globe-trotting teen idol, has been in an accident and is hospitalized. So, at the Crown, the karaoke headquarters of the Sailor Scouts, or Senshi, or Soldiers, or Guardians, or whatever term you want to use for them, they wind up being told by Luna that one day they'll regain their memories of the Moon Kingdom, so on and so forth, and that in the meantime they should keep doing their job. That will help spur on the return of their memories. But in the meantime, Moon and Jupiter decide they want to go to the hospital and visit the fallen idol, who is certainly in need of, pepping up and hospital visits and things like that. We also get to meet her creepy manager, Minako's creepy manager, Saito Sugao, in this episode as well. Then, when you get into episode 12, this is the first time Will has seen the studio, so he's kind of looking around. In episode 12, we wind up with Ray and Amy attending a festival in hopes that Sailor Venus is going to make some sort of an appearance. We wind up with Usagi and Minako bumping into each other to escape the hospital, and basically everything winds up being a trap put together by Zoisite in a desperate attempt to kill off Sailor Venus, and capture the princess and so on and so forth. So, general thoughts. This is Will's first time on here when we watched Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon. So,
No, on the camera. He's
on camera.
No.
That's the first time you've appeared on camera with it.
No, it's not. He's
Second
on
time.
Second time? When was the first one?
Shortly after
It was like
the
episode
two
three.
episodes, the two episodes that were after the basketball episode.
'Cause it
I'm
was,
racking my brain
it
trying to
was the
remember.
four of us. It was you, him, me, and Larissa.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could have swore you were out there and it was Larissa, Sam, Rob, and me. Okay, well, whatever. I just tape these shows. So
Well, Rob did because Rob watched the basketball episode, and that's the one Rob was on, and apparently sat out this other one,
and you wound up on it. Okay.
That's
Well, notwithstanding, first impressions of these two episodes. Well, what do we think?
Yay.
I didn't think they were bad. Okay.
Well, I know you sort of got part of what you wanted there, Sam.
Yes, I got Sailor V finally. She was finally part of the main storyline instead of just out there singing songs.
Yeah, we finally get
And
to see
occasionally
Venus.
like interrupting fights.
Yes, during the ninja run.
Yeah, we do get to see Sailor Venus finally, or as she is referred to here at this point, Princess Sailor Venus. That's actually the full term they're using for her at the moment.
Part of the story arc in the original.
I'm not sure. In this story arc, does Sailor V have all her memory? Is that why she's obsessing about Sailor Moon? Or
Well,
do we know that?
I think it's implied because Artemis makes the remark when she's trying to figure out why Moon is the way she is. Artemis makes the remark before we realize it's Artemis. She simply hasn't fully awakened yet, which sort of implies to me that Venus already has.
Okay.
And they make a reference in episode 12 where they're on the ride together, Venus and Moon, so Usagi and Monako, that to the movie Kagemusha, where it's the whole Shadow Warrior plot where one person is impersonating the prince or leader or emperor or what have you, so that the real one can be safe, which is effectively the plot line we're getting at this point, because in every interpretation of Sailor Moon we know that Usagi is the actual princess, and so Venus is currently sort of the stand-in to keep Usagi safe, we would assume. We haven't got to that part of this series just yet. Yes?
Plus, she was a queen.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
Her mom was still alive when she sent everybody to the moon.
Okay.
Not moon, to planet Earth.
Okay.
So, Will, I know that the action choreography of this show impressed you quite a good deal.
You mean lack thereof?
Sure.
They're doing a great job for their first real acting spiel. As Mike said, this is their first real acting role. They did all their own stunts.
There's this thing.
Well, they do a lot of them.
There's a thing called fight choreography that you can rehearse.
But that costs money.
I understand that. A little extra money spent is a wonderful thing from time to time.
Obviously, they were concerned about it, concerning some of the costumes. Come on now.
I mean, this is, in 2003 and 4, this is the third tier tokusatsu show from Toei, because in 2003, and I don't have a list in front of me, so I'm probably going to mangle this. I want to say in 2003, you have Deca Ranger, which becomes Power Rangers SPD here in the States, and you have Kamen Rider Fies, I think, are the two series that are
That's
out.
crap, by the way. If they can do like backflips and cartwheels and shit, costumes, they can choreograph a fight scene that takes like what 20 minutes before the fight actually starts. I'm just saying. There's a reason why some people like film in different ways. There are reasons for this. I'm sorry.
But this is a girl show.
I understand that. That's perfectly fine. But when the only thing you see in something that's supposed to be a fight scene is twirling flips and cartwheels in the same space, which is actually really talented. Don't get me wrong, I do know a few gymnasts. But anyway, I'm just saying that is not a fight scene.
But they progressed. They used to just dance. They used to just do pirouettes everywhere.
It was
shit right now, though. I'm just saying, there's no punches being thrown. There's lots of flailing. Just saying.
There were kicks thrown. I'm just saying.
Ha!
Episode 1, brother, it was like pirouettes and ballet leaps. We weren't even getting the cartwheels, the backflips.
Still got ballet leaps going on now.
Yeah, but that's all we got.
Do we need to rewatch? Do we need to start over? We can. And what, were you there? You missed the episode then where they fought with singing. They sung at their enemies. Come on now. This is progression. They're doing
Yeah,
better.
I know. I had to talk Mike off a cliff because y'all wanted to watch the 2 episodes that were musicals.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, not the 2 episodes that are musicals, but they wanted to watch the musicals.
Which is 2 episodes slapped together.
No, I mean, of this series, we'll eventually get there.
No, hell no, we ain't. Okay, but let me rephrase that. I won't.
You won't necessarily. But no, there are the Sailor Moon musicals, and then I think there is a musical episode or special of this series.
Yeah, I looked up the because there's a musical That's the reason why I framed it as two musicals, because one of them is a two-parter episode that they put together, and it's kind of like, I guess, would technically be seen as Once More with Feeling. And all those people who watch Buffy know that reference.
Don't insult Buffy like that. Because I actually enjoyed that
Yes,
musical episode.
I do too.
And virtually any other musical episode of something is an insult upon that one if you try to compare them.
I saw one that was pretty good. The one for Psych wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. I didn't say it was the best thing I ever saw.
Anyway, yeah,
No.
there's.
No.
He's trying everything he can to not talk about Sailor Moon.
No, it's not that.
But
anyway.
So basically, the gist of these two episodes is establishing Monaco as an ongoing, integral part of the series, no longer simply a guest star that shows up periodically to remind you that Sailor V is there and delivers some important portion of the plot. So we really get mostly character development out of Monaco, and they play off of an element from the manga and the various anime series. In all of those versions, Monaco is not an idol. She's another student, and there's a lot of similarities between her and Usagi.
She's not a singing idol. She's an actress, I thought.
Aspiring.
Or aspiring.
Yeah. But here, while yes, she is full on an international star, they still play up a little bit the similarities between them. First, visually, with Usagi serving as the lookalike distraction for Monaco, which is, again, a little twist on the actual relationship between the two characters in the show. And then, again, they like to eat cake the same way. There's just different similarities between them. How do you think this serves as an introduction for Sailor Venus? Because most of them didn't get a full-on two-parter. Most of them got a one-and-done introduction episode, and that was it. Whereas Venus gets literally a 12-episode build-up to her transforming for the first time. So
I'm stuck on two things. The first one is that Sailor Venus is not creeped out by Sailor Moon's psycho fangirlness.
I'm pretty sure she's gotten used to people like that.
Okay, and then I guess I don't know if they're going for the angle that the audience knows nothing about Sailor Moon at all, so they're trying to build it up that Sailor Venus is the princess, so it's going to be a big shocker when she's not, making her more important than she seems, maybe?
well,
From what I can remember from watching the series, yes, I did watch the series way back in the day. Anyway,
Odie has playing cards. Yes, there's a playing card game.
yes, there was a Sailor Moon trading.
yes, there
card
was,
game.
and I own two of the decks. Anyway,
And we're going to learn how to play.
yeah, something like that.
Coming soon to Rage Quit Radio.
Starting to wish I hadn't brought this damn thing.
Anyway,
But it seemed like that was like kind of a major plot point during the shows that I watched. That everyone that even with Sailor V, with like not having, she had her memories, but she didn't completely have all her memories.
Mm-hmm.
Just like she remembered a lot more than everyone else did, but she didn't remember exactly who the princess was. So she might have gotten convinced that she was the princess, or she wasn't the princess, or she may think that from everything that's going on that she is the princess. So there's that part.
in this series, to Sam's point, and the way you put it, you're wondering are they trying to present it in such a way that, assuming that people don't know. I think when you do something like this, and it's just another version of the original story, this is the third incarnation of Sailor Moon, first the manga, then the anime, then this, and then Crystal comes later. I think whenever you do each interpretation, you have to assume that it's somebody's introduction to the mythology.
Yeah.
So a lot of the touchstones and it's something I'm commending this show for a lot of the major touchstones of the Sailor Moon mythology, the show gets right.
Yeah.
And Usagi's a ditz. Mercury is the smart one. Mars is the aggressive, serious one. Jupiter is the fighter and the tomboy. And Venus is, in most versions, Venus is the pretty girl prima donna type. In this one, they take it in a different direction where she's actually a celebrity instead of just being like the most popular girl in school kind of character.
Yeah.
So they still hit on a lot of those right, and I think with a lot of the villain characters, they get the notes right, but the villains in this show, they take a lot more liberties with than they do anybody else.
Yeah, I got no problems with any of that. Because Zolcyte looks, I like Zolcyte. I like his character design and everything. I'm just gonna say that.
I like all of the ones we've seen. Zoisite, Jadeite, Kunzite, and who am I leaving out?
We've only seen the 3 so far.
Right, we haven't seen Kunzite. Nephlite.
Mm-hmm.
And all of them come across very well. They've taken some liberties with the Tuxedo Mask design and character slightly, but still it hits what you have to hit for the character.
He's still the tragic soul who doesn't know who he is.
Yes. And luckily he never becomes the Moonlight Knight. Which was
It's a horrible fucking name.
It is. It's based on a character named Gecko Kamen. If you don't know who that is, go look him up. He was Japan's first television toku hero and was essentially Japan's answer to Batman. And maybe one day we'll watch something with him in it, because I think I've got a couple episodes of Gecko Kamen around here somewhere. But anywho, with the bad guys, one thing that I never paid attention to it if it happened. So I'll put it that way. When the generals were hurt to a point that they were either destroyed or whatever, did they actually turn back into rocks?
They turned into moon crystals.
I was about to say they turned into their namesakes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They basically turned it back into because that's another thing I remember, and something that me and someone else had some discussions about. See, yes, I do know a lot more of the series than I get on. I've learned to learn a lot about the things I hate. So there's that.
Know thine enemy.
Yes, very much.
So
Hey, Sun Tzu was a genius. You leave me the hell alone.
okay, I've got The Art of War around here somewhere.
I do too.
Did I give you my old copy of it?
No.
I had an old copy of it. I don't know where it went.
You might have. I don't know, because I have a really, really big copy of it, like a thick
Right.
edition of it. That was like the sayings, theories, and his teachings.
All right.
So.
But the bad guys. In this we see one element of Venus that I've never seen in any incarnation, which is her as almost a soldier. Which, I mean, I know that's what they call them, but you actually see her almost behave that way in the fact that Zoisite is taken aback by Tuxedo Mask. He sees Tuxedo Mask as something beyond what anyone else does. He's the first one to call him Endymion.
Yep.
So we've got that name dropped really early, it seems. And because we're only 12 episodes in. And
Well, how many episodes?
50 something. So we're not even a third of the way through. Or
Yeah.
we're not only a quarter of the way through yet.
Yeah, that is kind of early for that.
So we get that name dropped quick. And while the bad guy is staggering and almost seemingly in the beginnings what might be a retreat, Venus just steps out from behind Tuxedo Mask, zaps him, and that's that. Just no ifs, no ands, no buts, and no hesitation. Just shoot the beam at him, and he reverts back to being a rock on his piano.
Maybe she's trying to keep the secret still. She doesn't want it out yet.
Maybe. Who knows? Anything stand out about these episodes particularly that you liked? Something that really captured your attention? I see that sideways glance.
Thank you. Leave me alone.
But something in these that just, you were like, yeah, I like that. That's cool.
Honestly, storytelling is the main thing, and the fact that they did actually play up the fact that one of the things during the series that the whole fact of Usagi and Monaco looking so much alike that they could actually pass for twins. Not realistically, but just enough for a distance with the whole her taking her place episode. I did actually like that they did play up on that.
How about you, Sam?
I just like the backstory. Well, not the backstory. I just like how they're making out Sailor V, her personality or whatever. She's calm, level-headed, knows her stuff. Wants to be a normal girl, but knows she can't, so she's just pushing aside and doing what she needs to do.
She's the manager. I love the
the
manager. The manager was awesome.
Creepy manager was pretty cool.
And his face, he's like Jim Carrey. He has that very mobile face, rubber face.
It was just like, well, no, it was like, what you can't see is Drew is over here in the corner making like faces and stuff, because he came in when the manager got possessed by the Yuma, so not before. And we were just like,
Never trust a man in a velvet sports coat. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know about that part.
Man, I've seen Boondocks. Anyway,
Okay, touche.
so no, I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoy the fact that it seems like they picked Venus to be, we're playing with the villains in mass. Here's the one hero she's not going to be what she was on TV. She's not going to be the manga character, the anime character. We're going to play with this one a little bit. And I actually appreciate that I enjoy different versions and adaptations of the same story. There are 3 different versions of the story of Jimbo as major motion pictures, and I own all 3 of them because they're all different takes and different styles of storytelling, and I enjoy that. And Will's trying to figure out what the 3 are. Jimbo, Fistful of Dollars, Last Man Standing.
Thank you. So I always have trouble remembering the Fistful of Dollars as a version of Jimbo.
And the Japanese didn't. They won a lawsuit over it. But anyway, that's why Fistful of Dollars is called The Return of Yojimbo in Japan. So
hey, it's still a good movie. That's all I'm saying.
You know, it is. So there's a lot to it that I really, really dig. How about something in these episodes that you just looked at and went, oh God, please no, please stop.
Obviously, the fight scenes for him.
Trust me, I can say more than the fight scenes, but we won't get into that.
I know there was something, but I can't really remember, cause I don't know. I'm just thinking of all the good stuff.
I will say, for me personally, this was not the most flattering first appearance they could have given to Artemis.
No.
The first appearance of Luna is as a plush animal, which in the context of the series actually is not a bad idea because, one, it's a more fitting disguise. Arguably, she could be carried into more places and so on. Not every place lets you bring in animals in real life, so there's not an excuse to have a cat with you everywhere you go.
I didn't like Artemis's CG. It just seemed
That's what I'm saying.
Agreeing. It just seemed like it was rushed.
Yeah, it had an incomplete feel to it. It's not the dinosaur from the first episode of Kamen Rider Double, but then again, nothing is. At least they got past the wireframe stage, but there was some lighting and just some texture issues where it looks like they really could have done more. I think they just didn't pay as much attention to it. With Luna being the darker color, I think it hides a lot of that.
Yeah. That
having a white CG model, you're not going to be able to hide. So there is that. Although I enjoyed the voice, and I enjoyed the idea that it was this shadowy character. We don't see Artemis until we actually see Sailor Venus for the first time. So, and I kind of like the appearance of him as the aide de camp, the lieutenant to the princess kind of thing. I'm almost expecting him when he pops in to be like the old herald to a samurai general or whatnot. Your head is high, whap, and smack somebody on the head till they bow. I'm almost expecting that, and I think he does everything short of that.
I was going to say he does introduce you. This is the princess, or whatever.
Yes. So you are the princess of the big build up and introduction. So you saw nothing but goodness out of these 2 episodes, huh?
Well, no, nothing but goodness. I think I just blocked out the badness. I started to cringe when they were in the Ferris wheel and Sailor V started singing for whatever reason. I was like, is this a confession of love? What are they doing? No.
Yes. when they cut away, they drop the cakes and start making out. They figured it was a little too racy, so they left that part out.
It's like we're trying to stick with
You missed the last couple episodes where we had the creeper Tuxedo Mask imposter.
Oh, I can believe it.
So, yeah, it's overall, I'm enjoying the series. I'm enjoying watching it again. Unfortunately, the part I'm really going to like isn't coming for, I think, another almost 10 episodes. And I really want to see how everyone reacts to it, because how far into the live-action version have you actually seen, Will? Is this as far as you've seen anything of it? Okay.
I remember you telling me that
Bits and pieces of it.
Bits and pieces of it, and I was just like, "Ooh, I want to see."
Well, there are a number of things in this show that make it different. And the more I'm watching of it, the more I'm remembering. Almost like I'm one of the scouts in the show. The more I do shit here, the more I remember of the Moon Kingdom. And I'm remembering more of the plot threads in this show that make it markedly different. And there's at least 3 that I'm remembering off the top of my head. No, 4 that I'm remembering off the top of my head. And I've spoiled one for Sam because that's why she wants to watch this show. The other 3 I did not, for purposeful reasons.
You spoiled one for me, and I was just like, I would like to see that. I would actually like to see that when that happens.
So it's going to be a fun ride. So closing thoughts on these 2 episodes, and what are we looking forward to next?
Why do I initially have to go first every time you say that?
You don't.
You don't.
Well, why didn't you say nothing then? You could have just chimed in at any point in time. You just sat there.
And snickered.
Yes.
Exactly. It's the whole reason why I thought I apparently had to go first.
I want to see what you're doing. I don't know. I'm just the progression. I'm really looking forward to what you told me, but I've got a ways to go apparently before I get to see that.
That's almost the end of the series.
Yeah.
So, there's fun stuff in the middle.
I guess it's my brain is telling me it's getting better because I didn't even realize we had watched 2 episodes when we had, and I'm like, wait, we only watched 1.
Right.
So I was ready for the next one.
Mm-hmm.
So they've caught my attention.
That's the whole thing with like 2-parters that like kind of just merge together, and you don't know that they're.
They did it so well.
Yeah, that is the case here. A lot of Toku 2-parters aren't that well done, to be perfectly honest. I've seen plenty of them. And a lot of them just are hot garbage when it comes to trying to put the 2 together. It don't work. It's a train wreck. Here, though, they've done a really good job. While most of the show still has that early 2000s episodic feel to it that was very prevalent in Tokusatsu, this is the era where it starts to change in Toku and become more of serialized fiction. So you're getting a little column A and a little column B. There's a meta plot that does move from episode to episode, but there's still a monster of the week kind of deal. So it's sort of somewhere between Super Sentai and Kamen Rider in 2003 in that regard, because Super Sentai was really episodic in 2003, but Kamen Rider was, you might as well have said it was a 48-part story. So this falls somewhere in the middle. So I'm looking forward to more of it too, folks, and we're gonna ride this one out. Hopefully Larissa will be with us next time, because I know she's looking forward to some of this too. I suspect I've got to figure out a way to get these 4 episodes to her so that she will actually be caught up. But in the meantime, folks, I want to thank you for joining us. Want you to, of course, share, like, subscribe, leave a comment below. All those things do help us out here. Jump over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/ECS Network. Become one of our patrons. And if you like, go over to cafepress.com and pick up some cool Denzicaster gear, or for any of the ECS Network shows. That does help the network. That is what bought the tripod that our camera is sitting on. That is what paid for the lighting rig that we have set up in here now that makes us actually visible on camera as opposed to not. Those were the only 2 options we used to have. So, well, thank you folks for joining us. Until next time, I'm Mike. And we'll see you on Electric City Sentai Denzicaster.